Shipping Cycles here with a short-term outlook on December the 25th. As usual, I have my 4-week cycle here in black, and we see the current situation. We are in the middle of the pop-up phase of my 4-week cycle, the most bullish phase of the cycle. And we are kind of halfway through it. Lost some days in the weekend and the first Christmas day, so the cycle is bullish, suggesting upside this coming week. Here's my previous scenario. We did get some kind of a pullback here, but very small before we pop back up again. So we have this steep green trend line. It will be broken eventually, sometime. Maybe not this coming week, but in January, perhaps. And then we should have some kind of a pullback in January. So let's have a look here going forward. So I've been talking about this 10-week oscillation, and it can be up to 12 weeks long, suggesting maybe this is a long 10-week oscillation, and it could make a low around mid-January. So we could make an all-time high now this coming week before New Year, and then in January the cycle is well, I shouldn't say it's bearish in the beginning of January. It's more it could be bullish all the way into this point, and the pullback low doesn't have to be at the 4-week cycle low. It can also be at the 2-week oscillation low later in January. So I won't lie, I have no clear idea about what will happen in January here. I'm only speculating. So let's look at very short-term stuff. Dow Jones hourly data. So previous week we did get the small pullback, but first we grinded it up more. We got the pullback exactly where my 2-week oscillation suggested a low, so now we have started a new 2-week oscillation. Let's have a look here. So we have one more week to go in this 2-week oscillation. My wavelet looks to be set up bullish, so I think we will grind up higher this coming week into New Year, and then we maybe could see some kind of a B, C consolidating phase or a pullback into mid-January. That will be my main scenario. So looks like we have more upside in this 2-week oscillation, and then yeah. And also I looked at as I have shown, we have seen extremely high momentum on this rally. So I'm comparing with other rallies in the Dow Jones Industrial with similar high momentum, and the average of these analogs in red suggest actually a high a bit into January, but we don't have to follow the average. Here's in black my scenario from the previous chart, suggesting a top around New Year, and then consolidating or a pullback into mid-January. But there could also be a final low of this 10-week oscillation in late January. We have to see. But right now I think we could have A, B, C into mid-January, and then off we go. And looking at my wavelets in the daily data, you see we have this blue wavelet. It turned up, so we have a big A, B, C, and we have this trend line, and when it gets broken we should see some kind of a reaction to the downside, going sideways, going down. But we also see this purple wavelet. My primitive tool is measuring from the top, and when we get to this point we should start to rally again. However, I don't like this setup. Well, I should say, I really don't know. If this is, or going back from the bear market low, We had a correction early 23, another correction in March, and then this long 3-month correction. So it's been a rough ride, this bull market, and now we could see perhaps the bears are giving up. We are back at all-time high almost for the S&P. Actually, Dow Jones has made an all-time high, and so has Nasdaq, and finally the S&P will soon also make an all-time high, and there's no reason to be bearish here. Everything says this is a bull market, but we are at the all-time high here, so we could see, some kind of a cup with a handle action here, making some kind of a pullback here from the all-time high. Oh, it's a big double top. No, it's not, but it could be a cup with a handle, so some kind of a reaction here. But we could see the coming months, a bull market that's just grinding slowly upwards, no deep pullbacks, very boring. I like volatility, I like bearish action, but in this we could get this boring bullish phase where we just go up slowly. And these oscillations are very hard to interpret. We have little volatility. It's hard to identify the cycles and the oscillations. We just grind upwards. So in this situation I showed last week, I could see two scenarios. One that's a bit bearish here in red, suggesting we could have a kind of a deep pullback in January, making this shape here, suggesting we could be at this point, and we have bearish action the coming weeks into this point. That could be one, waveform or shape of this rally. And then we have this one in black, suggesting, this blue wavelet, it will go down, but then it will turn up, and so will this purple one. So then we have this possible scenario that we are around this point. We get a small pullback, but then we have the purple one pulling us up, and then soon also the blue one pulling us up. So, complex waveforms, little volatility. So just speculating. I really don't know. All I know, things I know are working is my cycle, my 2-week oscillation. So I know I should not expect any downside before early January, but it could be just a small pullback, maybe, or even a higher high, around January the 10th, a small pullback then into around January the 20th. I don't know. I can feel this boring bull market could be taking over. But yeah, buy and hold is fun. Everyone getting rich, and yeah, could be like that for the next 12 months into the bull market top around next Christmas, as I showed in my cycles video earlier today. So we have to see, and see you in the next video next weekend. See ya!